And now for something completely different.
What I do is I look a woman up and down and I say,
I'm coming to join you!
Bitch!
oh, is that too far?
Oh, you want to get into things?
Well, I mean...
No. Let's get into things. Let's get real. Everybody, Bojack wants to get real. Cancel the bubble round, because we're getting real.
Hey-o. How is everybody? Hello. Let's just start off with that. How are you? I don't even, whatever. What?
Pregnant?
That's okay. That's fair. Dylan, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. I got tea. I'm doing a tea day today.
Cool. D, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm good.
Okay.
Oh, wait, G or
Excellent.
B? This is going to be confusing.
No, it's okay. I said B. I was eventually going to get to G. I usually go alphabetical. I started off awfully. Michael. How is they?
Fine. I wasn't just watching Twin Peaks. I was definitely here for the whole pre-show meeting.
Michael, are you okay? You really seem out of it.
Yeah, you definitely seem out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know last week, I'm sorry I missed, guys. I was really under the weather, and you know I hate missing the show, but you have to take care of yourself sometimes, you know?
That's true. Sometimes you gotta lay down, put a rag on your head.
It seemed like you were very sick last week.
Yeah. Anyway, for those that are watching or those who are eventually going to be watching, this is No Time to Binge, a very weird show where a bunch of people that have a lot of stuff to do usually have no time to watch some shows. So we pick some things, watch the very first episode, the very last episode, and then try to figure out what happened in the middle. And then we usually have somebody on that has watched all of it. It is usually Matt Rahman. Say that for me. Can you enunciate that?
It's Scandinavian French. Matt Rahman.
Okay. Well, I was wondering where the French was coming in, and it landed well. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So last episode we watched Glee. If you want to see our thoughts of how to figure out what that show was, you could check that out on the YouTube channel or whatever else. But this week we're talking about actually a pretty good show, and we're going to go over She-Ra, which is a 2018 kind of I guess a remake, right? It's a remake, a better version of She-Ra than the original.
It's
a
definitely
retool.
a remake. Yeah.
A retooling.
Yeah, they retool it. Yeah.
Now, has anyone on the panel, do they know the older, like the 85, 86, like He-Man show where She-Ra was, started the She-Ra show? So for the most part, this is all brand new information, right?
What, Zach, was she not He-Man's cousin? Am I just making that up?
Yeah, well, She-Ra was not, but her counterpart was Prince Adam's cousin in Eternia.
Are
anyway,
you saying that She-Ra and Adora are not the same person?
They are not the same person per se. The same way that Adam and He-Man are not the same person.
Yeah,
they embody the same matter. But
and they share the same memories. Like He-Man always knows what happens like with Prince Adam, and Prince Adam always knows what happens when he's He-Man.
So in a lot of ways, it's like Lou Ferrigno in The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
when you get when they get angry, they turn into Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah, and when they get the she or the he pronoun right before their name, they lose their sense of humor for the most part. They usually get some kind of muscles, a pretty badass sword, and way better friends. So, yeah, but for those that do not know, She-Ra and the Princess of Power is an animated fantasy web television series developed by award-winning author Noelle Stevenson and produced by DreamWorks Animation. It is a reboot of the 1985 Filmation series She-Ra and the Princess of Power. The series tells the tale of an orphan named Adora who leaves behind her former life in an evil horde when she discovers a magic sword and transforms her into a mythical warrior princess, She-Ra. Matt, when you found out we were watching She-Ra, what did you know? What did you think we were going to get into?
Well, first of all, when you said horde, I mistakenly heard whore.
Yep.
And that was inappropriate for the subject matter.
You definitely heard that inappropriately. I agree.
But that's on me. What did I think? It reminded me of kind of a mashup of Paw Patrol and Captain Planet. So if you were to take those two shows and put it in some sort of Dungeons and Dragons fantasy world, you get She-Ra. And, Rebels versus the Horde. I like the Catra girl. She was pretty cool.
Yeah, she was cool. Wait, but I'm assuming by your comment that you've seen a lot of Paw Patrol to know how accurate you are.
Oh yeah, I have. Everyone knows that I have my entire left leg is covered in Paw Patrol tattoos. It's basically.
Did you catch the?
And he insists on showing the whole thing.
This is a video. If you want, please let us see it right now. I would love to see that.
I haven't manscaped appropriately this week, and I don't want to deter from the artwork. My tattoo artist, little Stephen McKillicuddy, would be really upset if I wasn't properly presenting the piece. So maybe next week.
Yeah, we definitely do not want to offend little Stephen McGillicuddy. Anyway, G, what do you know about She-Ra and the Princess of Power before this project?
I knew a little bit about it because my partner, it's like one of their favorite shows. So I've seen a couple episodes of it, but I didn't know very much about it.
Yeah. Now, Dylan, you and I, we've watched season 1 for another show we were on where we were She-Ra fanatics and, had to know everything She-Ra, which now I know your level of knowledge. Michael, what was your level of She-Ra knowledge?
Not a super lot. He-Man was absolutely my whole entire shit when I was a kid. Like, I still have, if I had a better camera, I would show you, like, the 80s He-Man stuff is right next to me with the castles and everything. But I was 6 when that came out, so I didn't watch She-Ra because that was for girls. And I didn't watch this new one because I'm not a huge fan of this animation style. But watching this first and last episode, I was very touched by it. So I enjoyed especially that last episode a whole lot. So I may, once I'm done with this Twin Peaks watch, may watch She-Ra.
Yeah, I agree. I watched the first and second season, I think right when they came out. I missed it. I'm not sure why it dropped off. I consume a lot of media. And for this project, I was excited about it. So I'm like, cool, let me just see how it wraps up. And dude, I agree completely that the way that last episode is, it's like, okay, I need to know everything else that's going on because this is absolute emotion and heart, which is great. Now, B, you suggested this show, and I know that you are a fan of this show. What's your experience with the show? Obsessed.
So I'm obsessed. I started watching it like around like season 2, right before season 3 came out. And I've just, since then, I have been watching the show as it comes out. Like, I stayed up all night, as soon as season 4 dropped, as soon as season 5 dropped. I cosplay a character from it. I love the show so much.
Yeah, and this
it makes my gay little heart so happy.
Yeah,
it was
mine too. It is. I loved it. It was gorgeous. But oh man, I forgot what I was going to say. The next part, anyway. So, G,
you were going to say about how gay it is.
I wasn't. I definitely was not. But I'm glad someone did, because it needed to be said. G, from your best memory, what happens in episode 1, season 1? Which is called The Sword Part 1. What can you remember from episode 1, season 1?
Well, pretty much it was just
She-Ra, like, going out into the woods and then finding a sword, and then Glimmer and Bo showed up to also get the sword, and then She-Ra ended up getting the sword, and that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's some character building. I think that this thing was designed to be an encapsulated story. It was written as 5 seasons. I know that they did end it the way they wanted to end it. But yeah, so it starts out season 1, episode 1, the sword part 1. So sneaking out into the after getting promoted to force captain, a Horde sister, Adora, finds an uncanny sword in the Whispering Woods. However, Princess Glimmer wants it for the rebellion. All right. Michael, the Horde. That seems like your style of people.
Absolutely.
What were you thinking in episode 1?
They didn't seem like bad people. Obviously, just like, like anything where there's an army, I think the soldiers were probably fine people who, like Adora, were brought up, thinking that this was the way that things are supposed to be. Then it's just the higher ups that are evil. But even the higher ups turned out to be not so bad, except for probably because we got very little like villains in at least what we watched. And even the villain that we did see in that first episode really redeemed herself in that last episode. So
are you talking about Mean Teacher?
Yeah, Mean Teacher,
Mean Teacher Shadow Weaver.
Mean Mom.
Yeah,
Mean Mom.
It seemed like
Shadow Mom.
It seemed like there was going to be a lot of redemption in this story. So I appreciate that. Ooh, nice Horde sweatshirt.
Oh yeah.
I definitely the She-Ra toys that I had were definitely like Hordak and now I can't remember that one's with the eyes that bug out.
Shadow Weaver.
Slimer.
Boo.
Mantana.
Mantana.
Actually, I think that's right. However
Mantana.
stupid that sounds, I think that's right.
Mantana. Okay, so we get done with that first episode, which is a lot of world building, a lot of character building, and everything else. And then we get all the way to season 5, episode 13, called The Heart Part 2. And this is the 13th and final episode of season 5, and being this series finale and the 52nd episode overall of She-Ra and the Princess of Power. It was released on Netflix with the rest of the 5th season on May 15th of 2020. Matt, from what you can remember, what happened in season 5, episode 13?
Okay. There was so much mind control going on. It seems like we went in mid-battle, okay? I don't know who was fighting who and what was fighting what, but there was battling. And the mind control people had green glowy eyes, and that's never good. So, yeah, there was a lot of that. She called upon the honor of Grayskull, which, isn't the power of Grayskull, which leads me to believe that He-Man really doesn't have, he's not as honorable as one might believe. Then again, he is dressed kind of scantily, and, I wouldn't trust him with my house, is all I'm saying. But really, Zach, in the end, love conquers all. The cat woman, Catra, and She-Ra, or Adora, whatever. I don't remember which form she was in at the time. Oh, she was Adora form. Yeah. They shared a kiss. It was just thrilling, and all these little magic seeds spread out around everyone, cured them, and turned her into She-Ra so she could kick some cartoon ass. Just like in Paw Patrol, episode 7 of season 3, where they uncovered the 72 missing puppies who were Frankensteined into one giant, gross monstrosity. And luckily, they drown it, so put it out its misery.
Paw Patrol gets dark in season 3, just so everyone knows.
I never imagined so much curb stomping in an animated
They are
series.
not afraid to show some like graphic violence against some cop dogs in that show.
That's true.
It's like The Wire and Air Bud.
Yep.
Did anyone catch the JoJo reference in Paw Patrol? Because I am not joking about that.
Oh boy.
I was kidding about seeing any of it, but I did not know there was a JoJo reference. There's JoJo references in a lot of things. Now that I've seen JoJo, everywhere. I've actually realized there's a lot of references. So G, in the last episode, we catch up with Glimmer again and got a bit of a glow up. She's Glimmer's looking great. And we meet Glimmer's father also, and it seems like there's a bit of a weirdness with Glimmer's father. What did you take out of Glimmer's journey and her father in that conversation? Because that seemed like it took a little bit of some screen time. Okay, you can pass if you want to. That's no big deal. Michael, what do you think about Glimmer? I don't know here. Okay, so I guess what we're going to do is we're going to try to figure out how we got from episode 1 to the last episode. So we know that She-Ra gets the sword, and we do know that in the last episode she has some kind of virus. So Dylan, what do you think in the span of this show, when's the virus pop up and what's up with that?
I took down notes as just to like where people started and ended. And when they started talking about Prime a lot and then adding it to people's names, I'm like, Prime feels like a kind of like evil ancient virus that's been pulling the strings behind Hordak in the early seasons, and maybe halfway through or so, Hordak like gets beaten, and then Hordak Prime is like, all right, cool, I'm no longer in charge. Prime's coming back. Prime's going to wipe out everything in the universe, and I'm cool with that. And then it takes over everybody as some sort of, like, hive mind. So about halfway through, maybe?
It seems
cool. That is pretty
like...
close, Dylan.
You have no idea that.
What it really does, it goes back to, I'm glad you mentioned Glimmer's father, right? It turns out, I believe it's in episode 4-ish, turns out he is the brother of Captain Planet. But unlike Captain Planet taking care of the environment, this guy's a real bastard. Tipping over porta potties, throwing banana peels out the window. Awful. People can slip and fall. But worst part is when the COVID episode, this bastard just throws his mask on the ground and stomps on it. In front of his daughter Glimmer, and that's where they have their separation. She just can't tolerate a dad who would treat the environment that way, goes and lives with Uncle Captain Planet for a while, but then he comes back all messed up from the Prime stuff that Dylan was talking about, and one would hope that they reunited at the end and got over their differences in the environment cleanliness.
Yeah. Well, we did watch the end, so we know that all that did wrap up. Also, one part that you did miss, and I would like you to explain if that's okay. Captain Planet is an Earth-based hero, as we all know. Now, because they are related to Captain Planet, when did they get to Earth and they leave Eternia?
Oh, no. Captain Planet can go wherever the hell he wants.
Oh, he's captain of all planets.
Yeah, not just Earth planet, all planets.
Look,
the series we got here on our Earth reality, Zach, was solely based on Earth, our Earth. If you were to go to Mars, Jupiter, any of the other planets that I can't think of right now, they'd have that version of Captain Planet.
Okay, that's
I
fair.
don't want to sound racist here, but Captain Planet is blue, and Glimmer's dad was definitely not blue, so I don't think that they were that closely related, because
that's fair.
They would at least be like partially blue.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it feels to be wrong all the time, Michael, but
look,
must suck.
Like I said, I'm not trying to be racist, but if they were brothers, like one of them was very, very blue and the other one was very, very pink.
Yeah, well, this is not the show to get into skin color or anything, Michael. You know that.
We talked about this in the pre-show meeting, which Michael missed. So.
Oh, true. While he was not watching Twin Peaks. Okay,
I wasn't. Yeah, I definitely
Michael.
wasn't watching
Now,
Twin Peaks.
in episode 1, we learned that Adora and Catra, they are, I guess, like co-workers, friends. They're in battle together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the last episode, they've gone through some stuff, and now they're in love. Now, if you had to use your creative brain, tell me the story of Adora and Catra over 5 seasons.
Well, they grew up together, so they have sort of a Stockholm syndrome because they are all together, you know. And then I think in season 2 is when Catra kills Laura Palmer. And Adora and Catra have to cover this up. And this really gets them close to each other. But I think that Catra probably has some sort of fetish for humans, and Adora is a furry. So, you know, they have this sort of will they, won't they through the whole thing. I'm sure that everybody knows, but then once, you know, because Catra is like, I'm going to kill this Laura Palmer because she's my romantic rival to Adora. And then,
everyone loved Laura Palmer.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
In all fairness, Matt and Michael's talking.
But Adora,
sorry.
But once Adora, they find out that she's okay helping Catra cover up the murder, then that's when you know that they are in love. So,
okay,
I think that definitely what happened. That's definitely how that happened.
Sure,
but it turns out that Captain Planet was taken over by this entity that they call Bob, and it was a whole thing. It was just a whole thing.
I think that we need to stop watching other stuff while this is going on. Okay, so G. Now Glimmer and Bo, right? They're cool. They seem cool. They're friends in the first episode, maybe friends in the last episode. What do you think happened in 5 seasons between Glimmer and Bo?
Well, I kind of got a different vibe off of Glimmer and Bo. Considering Bo's note in the first episode had hearts all over it. I was thinking they were together for the whole thing. So, you know, definitely some little romantic jaunts in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight romances in this show, though, I don't think so.
I don't know. Let's see. B. Now, as far as Glimmer and Bo go, did they have a relationship, and do they continue to have a relationship?
So they have a very, very, very close friendship throughout most of the series. They do have a falling out now and then. Bo takes someone else to the princess prom, and Glimmer gets all salty about that. And it's very clear she has a thing for him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my feelings, they're friendship," and it's really awkward for a little while. But then Glimmer goes away for a bit, and then Bo's like, "Oh no, I miss her," and then they finally get together at the end.
So after watching all the whole season, and then because of this project, watching episode 1, season 1 again, what was that like seeing them as babies? Because they obviously all grew up. You could tell that there's physical changes and emotional changes, probably.
Yeah, it's really weird seeing Glimmer with the longer hair, because I got used to her as Queen Glimmer with the short hair and the little bodysuit thing. So having her go back, I'm just like, "Oh, you're a child. I forgot."
Yeah, she looks like she's 10 years old in that first episode.
Yeah.
That is an adolescent body.
Now Matra.
Yeah.
Matt, now once you find out that there's a princess prom and that people are taking the wrong other partners to the princess prom, what do you think the theme of the princess prom was?
Oh, well, this year was obviously werewolf themed. Was under the full moon, and that really pissed off Catra. And
Catra?
she had to put Catra. That's her rap personality, is Catra. But yeah, definitely werewolf themed. I envision a lot of sugary cereals, soda pop. And chaperones. The Dreamweaver, mean teacher, is most definitely a chaperone.
Yeah. B, will you please enlighten us to how the relationship between Adora and Catra, how does that go over 5 seasons? How close was Michael to this?
So their entire relationship is textbook enemies to lovers. They hate each other for 4 out of 5 seasons. In fact, most of season 5, they're still not together. So it's kind of funny, like, hearing you guys talk about, like, oh yeah, no, they're in love this entire time. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Catra keeps going on about how much she hates Adora. She feels abandoned by Adora because she decided to join the rebellion instead of helping her with the Horde. It's a whole thing. It's a lot of drama. But it worked out. It's very clear that Catra has a thing for her the whole time, but she's just really bad at expressing herself.
Yeah. Dylan, at the end, we also see that the Shadow Weaver, which is Shadow Bad Mom, very very mean mom. And they are also a teacher. Is that right?
It seems like Shadow Weaver like trains and manages like their recruits. She's like their like drill sergeant equivalent, obviously as like a magic user. And
so
then
in the last episode, though, we see that the Shadow Weaver, Shadow Dancer, what was it? Shadow Weaver. Now they're on the rebellion side. Now, will you please, through 5 seasons, tell me how the Shadow Weaver goes from a leader of the Horde into being on the rebellion side and helping out Adora?
I don't know that I'd say it didn't feel like Shadow Weaver was straight up rebellion in that last one. Maybe just like, great, this is bigger than the Horde versus the rebellion, so I'm gonna help the good people. I suspect Shadow Weaver probably has like 2 or 3 seasons of really intense like secondary antagonist role. Like she's an overbearing trainer and probably once Adora leaves for the rebellion, probably goes too hard on Catra to try and, you're not going to be good enough because Adora was hardly good enough. And then I imagine once Prime, because Prime seems to take the main villain spot towards the end, once Prime kind of makes themselves known, I think Shadow Weaver's probably like, all right, I can't be in charge of something that doesn't exist, so I got to stop this guy from destroying the universe. And then I suspect that's probably at the end the only time you see her actual face. Maybe you see like a flashback before it got all wrecked, but I suspect taking the mask off is probably a big catharsis like moment for everybody involved.
Okay. B, now Shadow Weaver. How does their story go over the course of 5 seasons?
So Shadow Weaver is pretty much the only antagonist we see for a good bit of season 1. We actually don't see Hordak like fully until just before season 2. Shadow Weaver is kind of working for him. She's the one that we're all focused on. But then she falls out of favor with Hordak once Entrapta joins the team, who is my favorite character, and develops kind of a romance with Hordak. And she starts making all this cool tech for the Horde. They start winning. And Hordak is just kind of like, well, why do I need you, Shadow Weaver? And he imprisons her. It's bad. Then she kind of says, F this, and joins the rebellion. And that's around season 4, I think.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Matt. Okay. So we know that at the end of the last episode, there is a person with 3 eyes on one side, 1 eye on the other side, and they seem like they're pretty tough. Now, they're not in episode 1. Now, tell me, when do you think this person showed up and what their motives were?
It was just the episode right before this. The scorpion woman laid an egg, and there was like a hobbit, and he had to protect the egg. And at the end of that episode, it hatched, and it was that monster guy. But what's funny is you never really get to know what it wants. They just left you hanging there, which is really unfortunate because it could have been such a force to reckon with on either side. Would it prime up? Would it be a rebel? Who knows?
Yeah, I had that same note. Like I had that same exact storyline for that 3-eyed, the 5-eyed thing. Yeah, the scorpion woman lays the egg. It's really weird though, because like you would think that this thing was huge. Like they have this whole clone army. It seems like a real Jango Fett, Boba Fett thing where he picked 1 clone, but that like he was the failed clone of that clone army. Which I imagine the scorpion woman laid all of those eggs to give birth to all of those Hordaks.
One egg every day, I believe.
Yeah, and there were so many of them. Like I think it was like a cluster, and then I'm not quite sure. Do you know which one was the one who was fertilizing these eggs?
Well, that's the question.
I thought it was Bo.
B, who was fertilizing the eggs that the scorpion woman laid that they laid out these Hordaks?
G. In the last episode, we see the scorpion woman, right? We see this person. It's got scorpion arms and whatever. Now, there is no person like that in episode 1. What season do you think other animal people show up? And tell me about a couple of these people.
Well, the scorpion woman, it's got to be season 3, I'm going to say. She just kind of shows up. The other animal people, they show up in episode 2, and we just missed that.
Oh, okay. So, okay, B. Touching on the last 2 things we talked about. Number 1, when did Scorpion Woman show up? And number 2, was there eggs?
There is so much to cover.
Take your time.
Okay, first of all, there are no eggs. The Scorpion woman is her name is Scorpia. She shows up like literally 2 episodes later after the first one. She is there the entire time. She is a main character. She's also the best character, and I will absolutely take 0 criticism on that. You just got to believe me. She's the best. She's perfect. Sure. Addressing the 5-eyed character that you guys were talking about, that is actually Horde Prime.
Oh,
okay.
That is Horde Prime. That's
when
that
did
is
they show
our
up?
big bad.
Okay.
So he actually is hinted at about season 3 is when they talk about him, because Hordak reveals that he is a clone. He is a clone of Horde Prime. He was rejected by Horde Prime and sent to die on Etheria because he is he's an imperfect clone. And he's actually dying this entire time. But he's like, his whole thing is to get back to Horde Prime, to show that he's a worthy clone of Horde Prime, that he can take over a planet all by himself. He just really wants to show his worth to him. And then we finally actually meet Horde Prime at the very, very end of season 4.
Oh, okay, cool. Now,
The
when
very
did the clone...
end, like the last 5 minutes.
Oh,
Now the clones.
Yeah.
What? Not eggs. No, not eggs.
Not eggs. Just clones.
Man, too
Just
bad.
clones.
But,
Okay. Cool.
And who are the Hobbit? Like,
They're
who are
literally-
the Hobbits protecting?
The Hobbit.
Well, we'll get to that question in a second. Matt, now we know that Adora is the cousin of He-Man. Now, She-Ra obviously has some sort of relation to He-Man. Who knows? Now, He-Man nor Prince Adam was in episode 1, nor the last episode. Tell me about how He-Man or Adam shows up in this series.
Oh, there are all sorts of Easter eggs. Like, there's an episode where Adora is all upset over Catra, like pushing away her advances because she just was not ready for a relationship. And of course, dumbass Bo's in the background, like skulking about, looking at him, which is really weird. Like, just mind your own business. But she runs off, and she's just guzzling so much wine straight out of the bottle. But on the mantle, you see all these family photos, and one of them are her and Adam playing, what is that, tetherball, where the ball's around the pole? Is that what it's called? Tetherball?
Yep.
Another of them bowling, one horseback riding, and then there's like a family portrait of a day they spent at the pool together. So that was that one. There was one time where they prank call him at the end of an episode. That was pretty good. He picks up, and it's one of those portal phones, so you kind of see it like a Skype call. That was hilarious because he was caught off guard, half asleep. There was something, I think they planned on stealing his cat after the princess prom, but I don't know if that ever happened.
Yeah. Okay. B, I'm going to come to you in a second with that one. Now, G, we know that this show is called She-Ra and the Princess of Power, and we know from episode 1 that Adora is an orphan, I believe. Now, because she is the Princess of Power, when do you think we meet the King/Queen of Power?
No idea.
No idea. Okay. Michael, what do you think? Princess of Power, do we meet the King and Queen of Power?
Well, yeah, obviously we meet the King and the Queen of Power. The Queen of Power is the Scorpion Woman. Yeah, absolutely. And Bo is the King of Power.
So wait, pause for a second. So the Scorpia and Bo are the parents of Adora, is what you're saying?
Yes.
And Prime.
Because the Scorpion Woman is 7,000 or 8,000 years old.
Okay.
She ages very well. She's laid millions of eggs in her lifetime. Every now and then there's a genetic mutation that makes these like human type monstrosities, and those are the ones that are sent to live in those scary woods. Because they don't want these human reject clone babies around.
Yeah.
So the King and Queen of Power, because Scorpion Woman is just like laying eggs all over the floor, and then Bo just walks around just jacking it all over the place.
Gross.
And then and then the clones spring from the fertilized eggs. And sometimes they're She-Ras, and sometimes they're five-eyed Hordak clones.
Is it a 3-day gestation on that, Michael, or what's the average?
Classic 3 days?
No, I think it takes longer than that. It's like a week and a half. They turn into like gremlin alien eggs, and then they split, and that's what the Horde eats for dinner. Is the split open eggs.
Now, Dylan. Episode 1 of season 1 starts with this sword who's calling out to Adora in the Whispering Woods. She grabs the sword and she does her business, and 5 seasons go on. Now, will you please tell me in the recap episode how the sword gets into the Whispering Woods to begin with?
Just lack of care. This entire show is actually a message about like caring about your things, like taking care of it, clean your room, that sort of thing. Which is why in that last episode, she has trouble recalling the sword, because her ultimate lesson is to learn to take care of your things. And when she tries to, the sword's like, nah, I know better after last time. Yeah.
So
One
the
and done
sword
after this.
the sword decided to leave.
Yes.
Okay. B. Do we ever meet the king and queen of power?
I don't know what. No. If you're
What?
talking about Adora's parents, if you're talking about Adora's parents, no.
Well, I mean,
you find out that
about
she.
She-Ra's parents.
Well, She-Ra's parents, I guess,
Yeah,
technically.
you find out that Adora actually came through a portal. She is from another world, possibly another dimension, but we don't meet them ever.
Dang.
It's just one of those things that are left. It's left like you'll never find out because she'll never find out.
She is, as Laura pointed out 3 or 4 times now. She is actually He-Man's sister, not cousin.
Yes. You do find out that she is from Eternia, not Etheria. So that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do we ever find out? Do we ever find out why the sword? No. Do we ever find out why the sword is in the Whispering Woods?
Yes. It was dropped there by a character named Mara, who is in the original She-Ra. And she was the original She-Ra. She was She-Ra before Adora. She-Ra is more of like a job.
A mantle.
Instead of like a yes.
So,
so there were several She-Ras before, and she was the last one before Adora. And that was thousands of years ago.
So a lot like the Tooth Fairy or Pinhead.
It's like Santa Claus in the Santa Claus.
She's exactly like Pinhead. Well done.
You just have to kill the previous She-Ra, and then you become She-Ra.
So like the Santa
push
Claus.
him off of a roof, like in Santa Claus.
Yeah. So wait, if She-Ra and He-Man are brother and sister, but Adora and Adam are not so is She-Ra not the same person as who they embody? Because if so, what do they do in the time off?
Okay. So Adam and Adora are brother and sister. We don't know that. We never find that out in She-Ra, but you can kind of assume She-Ra and He-Man, those are just jobs. Basically, those aren't people; they're just jobs.
So we can all agree that Laura is lying in all of her 4 to 5 comments now. So G. now we know that Glimmer and Bo have an on again, off again relationship that starts with episode 1 and probably continues to the very end. Now, as we know, most on again, off again relationships have some ins and outs with other characters. Will you tell me about some experiences that these 2 characters have with a third party?
Well, I can actually tell you that the first time I saw any art or anything of She-Ra was a picture of Glimmer and the Scorpion Lady. So I actually originally thought that Glimmer and the Scorpion Lady were in a relationship. And then seeing the first and last episode of this show, I was very surprised that the Scorpion Lady didn't seem to have any interactions with Glimmer. But I think yeah, that's what I think.
Now,
I think you need to stop looking up fan art and like what do they call that, slash fiction online? Because that's where you get a lot of wrong information. If you want the real information, people should listen to this show where we tell only the facts about these shows and not this slash fiction where they have these characters who have nothing to do with each other in relationships. Like, everybody knows that Bo and Agent Cooper end up together in the end. It's just you have to stop looking up slash fiction online. I'm putting parental blockers on your computer.
It's probably a good idea.
I'm going to ask all of you the same question before I go to B. Now, Matt, who do you think was inside this relationship between Glimmer and Bo throughout the series?
Oh, it was definitely Shadow Weaver. Yeah. So Bo, outside of the very end, Bo and Glimmer, she's in with both of them separately, but she's really hush hush about it, because when they broke up, she's like, "Damn, I'm hitting both of those because why not?" So Shadow Weaver gets in there. Bo is the only one to see her messed up face, because what we learn is that Katana, when she was a little baby Catwoman, just tore the hell out of Shadow Weaver's face, and that's why she has to wear the mask. And that is also why Shadow Weaver never gave her the benefit of the doubt and sent her on the good missions, promoted her.
Because her and Bo were together. Okay, that's interesting. Dylan,
Yeah.
between Glimmer and Bo, what do you think? What characters got in there?
I think a lot of the strife between the two was because of the spirit and the sword. Why do you think they were going for it so hard in that first episode? Like, they're trying to stop Adora from getting, and they're like, we can't handle any more of this. Like, we got to have a 3-person conversation about all this stuff, and one of us is stuck in a sword. But we can't tell Adora because, she'll want in on it. And then, the sword has to play along with it after Adora gets the sword, and they have that weird, awkward confrontation at the end of season 3, and yeah.
Okay. Now, B, can you clear this up for us? Did Glimmer and Bo mess around with anybody else throughout the series?
So Bo had a very brief thing with Princess Perfuma. She's like the flower princess.
Hot.
Yeah. But Glimmer
oh no,
actually seemed to have a crush on. Wait, what happened?
Oh, just kidding. Matt left.
Glimmer actually seemed to have. Glimmer seemed to have a little bit of a crush on Adora. So there was some tension there. It was awkward.
Oh. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Now, G,
Adora
Good.
is a real Laura Palmer
Everyone-
type in this.
Everyone loves Adora. Well, okay, everyone loves She-Ra when she's in her She-Ra form because she's a tall blonde lady. Like, what is there not to love?
Yeah.
So a real Laura
I'm
Palmer
kind of
type.
calling myself out here on my type, but yeah.
I love that every time Matt talks, B has to drink out of a wine bottle. G. Now, at the end, we see Shadow Weaver's face, and it is mangled, or something. Who knows? Will you tell me how that happened?
So that happened because of Katra. She, is a cat. So Shadow Weaver must have just got on her nerves one day, and Katra just kind of went after her.
No, that
Adora
seems
probably sprinkled some catnip on her face as like a prank, and it's one of those pranks that ended up like, oh, this went too far.
Shadow Weaver was a real bitch, though. She was like, she kept going like a, pss, 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 pss. I have some treats, and she'd shake the thing at treats, and then she wouldn't give them to her. So
Okay, so that's two for the cat. Dylan, Shadow Weaver's face. Give me the rundown.
It's kind of green, and she's got like the Batman Forever Two-Face mouth, where like part of it is like, which they modeled after Tommy Lee Jones, as you do.
Yeah.
And other than that, kind of rocks it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mask is pretty cool, though. I will say.
How do you think her face got that way?
I don't know.
Cool.
I think she was Lady Gaga. I think she was born that way. I think that's just how she looked.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you're obsessed with this woman's face is a little bit telling. Just
Of
that's
what?
just how she looks, man. Just let it go.
Well, let's find out. B, Shadow Weaver's face. Do we ever find out what happens?
Yes, actually. So Shadow Weaver was a very talented sorceress, and she decided to play around and it fucked up her face. And that's pretty much all there is to it, honestly.
All right.
No, that's cool. No, I like that.
Yeah.
That's way better than a cat. Matt.
Yeah.
Now, so it seems like a lot of the magic that's in this show is natural based, right? It's like kind of like... Dylan, did you pick up on that at all? Like every time they show magic, it's kind of like nature or something.
This show seems to have kind of that like nature versus tech, and magic is like the nature thing going on. So yeah.
Now at the end, when we see the heart of the planet, I guess, right? What do you think happens if that heart stops?
Everybody wakes up in the Black Lodge.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
This it turns out there's a lot of Twin Peaks references.
Yeah.
Now, B, what's up with this heart that they show at the very end? The heart of this planet.
The heart of Etheria.
Yeah.
The heart of Etheria is pretty much the center of the planet's magical energy. And oh gosh, trying to explain everything would be a big thing. But basically, the Eternians, which are Adora's people, came to Etheria and tried to harness the planet's magic. Had these runestone network, and yeah, it's this whole thing, and it's all connected to She-Ra.
No,
You can basically make a super weapon out of the planet, and that's why Prime is here, because he wants that.
Oof, Prime sounds cool.
Yeah.
Now, after watching the very last episode, if you had to give me, if you had to get weird, if you had to give me a stinger for maybe like an offshoot series, what would you like to see after this series? That question was to Matt at first, but anyone can answer. Really?
Hey, yeah, no, gladly. Well, they set it up really well for you because that giant tree grew in the sky, and then they showed that little witch woman at the very end. And what happens is stupid Adora, she drops the sword after this is all said and done, and that little witch woman gets the sword. So then it continues on as her adventures as She-Ra Treehouse Adventures.
Treehouse Adventures. I would love to watch that. Okay,
I think that's a Studio Ghibli joint. The old witch turning into She-Ra. I'm pretty sure that's a Studio Ghibli movie.
with the treehouse thing.
Yeah.
Now, B, you've seen every episode of this thing. What's episode or season would you say is like the best? Where's like the highlight of the show?
Season 3, easily. Mostly because I am absolutely weak for Hordak and Entrapta's interactions. I think they're so cute together. And that is like all season 3. Like, I mean, okay, it's like very clear they are a couple. You guys saw them at like the very end. Like the pigtailed lady's like, oh my God, Hordak, and like jumps at him. Like,
that pigtailed lady. How much is she in that show? Because I could not stand her voice.
Yeah,
she's in there a lot. She's in there a lot.
I'm out on this
show. Really, least favorite character. I agree.
Wow.
Trust me, you get used to it, and she's my second favorite character. She's fantastic. She's hilarious. And she's easily the smartest one. Plus, she's 30. I think it's funny that character is 30 years old.
Yeah, that reminds me a lot of this show that I listen to. It's a podcast called Jack Billings Presents, and the main character has a very shrill, obnoxious voice, but as time goes on, you do find that he is the smartest, the funniest, and really the best character I've ever experienced. And a lot of egg laying and fertilization on that show.
So, yeah,
egg laying. Oof.
Yeah,
Jack lays eggs. We don't talk about it on the show, but Jack is constantly laying eggs.
Yeah. Okay, let's get out of this one. This is a weird one. Now, G, you saw first episode, very last episode. Would you try to make time to binge this show?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I agree. Dylan, are you going to make time to binge this?
I'll try. I've watched the first season mostly, and I enjoyed it. And watching the end, it looks like it does wrap up in a pretty satisfactory way. So that helps. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, they're only like 22-minute episodes, so that's not bad.
Michael, are you going to find some time to binge this?
I was thinking about it. Now that I know that the pigtailed lady is in it a lot, that's sort of squashing down my enthusiasm for it.
I'm telling you, you get used to her. You do.
But I mean, I was
promise.
genuinely touched at the end. I was like, there were a couple times where I was like, I don't know why I care about these characters. I have watched exactly one episode of this show, but I cared about what was happening to these people. So it definitely had that real, like, you know, emotional attachment that some shows never get for me. So yeah, there's a possibility that I'm gonna watch this entire show.
All right, Matt, you gonna find some time to binge this?
You know, Zach.
No, I don't.
Good question. Good question. I think the first episode and the last episode were more than enough for me.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I can tell that you guys don't like this kind of animation, but I'm going to say you're wrong. I am going to definitely find time to binge this thing. I love it. I like shows that have heart, and this has heart. And Bo is cute, so I'm in. Okay, so what we decided to watch for next time is the latest Voltron series, which Dylan has been texting me feverishly, telling me that it's called Legendary Defender. Is that correct, Dylan?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think so. All those texts are feverish, so I don't remember sending them.
Yeah, it's not just the word feverish, which is weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, Voltron Legendary Defender. It is a Netflix series that ran for 3 seasons, 73 total episodes.
Jesus Christ!
Oh wow!
I know. We're all gonna watch.
Michael.
We're gonna watch one. I know, right? He always brings his freaking religion to everything. Anyway. So
always pushing it, Michael. You know, you don't need to push it on other people. We're fine with what you do, but
Voltron's got some pretty.
Go ahead, Zach. I'm sorry. You saw I got a little upset there.
I know, and I was gonna let you know it's okay for you to push your views about Michael not pushing his views on people, and I can appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
G, let's say our goodbyes, and also, what do you know about Voltron?
I know too much about Voltron. I watched the entire thing several times, except for the last season, but we'll talk about that.
So you've seen this? You've seen this the Legendary Defender series? Oh, okay, cool.
Yes,
so
yeah.
you're the expert. Perfect.
Yeah.
So you know a lot about that.
And spent 40 hours in that VR game.
oh, VR Voltron. That sounds cool.
Okay.
You can find all the show notes to everyone who's on this panel and the show notes, obviously, and the links to that. But G, do you want to tell people where they can find you?
You can find me on my podcast, Generation Clash. It's on everything, so just find me somewhere.
Yeah. And also, like I said, your anchor link is in the show notes. Dylan, what do you know about Voltron? And say goodbye. Where can people find you?
There's a theme on this show of like up to 72 people forming together into a single entity. And Voltron, I think, is when we're first properly exploring the concept. So that's going to be good. Otherwise, I know that Voltron fans and Power Rangers fans, just like, you can't have them in the same room without them going at each other. So, that's going to be fun. And
wait, so Voltron and Power Rangers are like Elvis and Beatles or something? Like, like they don't get along.
Like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter fans, yeah.
Do Elvis
or like Star Wars
Beatles
fans and Star Wars
get
fans.
along?
Well, that's what Quentin Tarantino said. Like, you could be an Elvis man who likes the Beatles, or you could be a Beatles man who likes Elvis, but you can't be both or something stupid. I have no idea. I don't care.
And then I think he swore. He probably swore a bunch.
Oh, he definitely
swore. And there was definitely some feet. Matt, what do you know about Voltron, and where can people find you?
I watched a lot of Voltron as a wee lad, so not this iteration, but I do remember cat robots forming a big robot and some blue elf vampire space mercenaries. Don't know if that's real or not, but that's what I remember. You guys can find me Instagram at Matt Deterior if you want to see photographs of my record collection. Yeah, I've been thinking of expanding myself into other podcasts. Maybe I'll do something like review serial killers or classic murder things, because the world needs another one of those.
Yeah,
that's true. And you're off to the right start. I mean, everyone wants to see other people's art on social media, so keep taking pictures of those record covers.
Yep.
B, what do you know about Voltron, and where can people find you?
Okay, so I'm familiar vaguely with old school Voltron, but not a lot about the new one. I heard that like the last season kind of made a few people mad, so I'm really curious about that. But people can find me on my podcast, Deep Lore, and Is This Podcast a JoJo Reference? You can also follow my Instagram if you want some of my cosplay content, at b.bethy. I have my Entrapta cosplay up there, actually, if you're a big She-Ra fan.
Now, other question. What wine did you pair for this conversation with Matt Deterior?
Oh, man, I have no idea. It's some kind of very fruity wine. It is... Oh, God, it doesn't even say. No.
It's white.
It's not good.
Wine.
It's not good, but it gets the job done.
Okay, so B's chugging wine, Matt's watching porn. Michael, where can people find you, and what do you know about Voltron?
I also watched a lot of Voltron as a wee lad, and too much of the new one to know that I don't enjoy it with my child. But yeah, you can find me on this, The Real Boys, Jack Billings Presents, Generation Clash, and I Love This Terrible Game. I think that's it. Also, you can hear my voice on Tapon's Theater on Subspace, which is a Star Trek show, and also some other stuff that who knows. But follow me on Twitter at my neighbor MICH1. And
Michael, did you say Jack Billings Presents?
I did say Jack Billings Presents.
Okay, Jack Billings Presents.
Yeah, Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex will be out very soon.
Yeah, and you'll also be able to hear Michael's voice on the upcoming season 2 of Silicon Angels. Go check out season 1. Dylan wrote awesome stuff. He wrote Create Your Own Podventure, which is a 17-episode choose your own adventure style podcast where you choose which next episode to listen to. He also is the co-creator of the podcast show. You can find him on most social medias at Vorpal Words, and everything that he does over at somenobodies.com. But yeah, so next time, Voltron, Legendary Defender, and guys, we appreciate you paying attention to us. Thank you very much, and let us know what we should watch next. Until then, we'll find some time to binge something. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
binge Silicon Angels. Although I did never agree to be on season 2.
I didn't ask.
Yeah, it's too late.
I have a lot of recordings of your voice. I can do whatever I want.
We have a character for you where we can just patchwork together all of your samples. So,
okay, that sounds like a lot of work, but go for it.
Silicon Angels is a lot of work, like Jack Billings. Either way, listen to what we got. We appreciate you guys. Wow, bye. I don't know. Bye. Is it my job to hit the button?
And now for something completely different.
What I do is I look a woman up and down and I say,
I'm coming to join you, bitch!
Oh, is that too far?
Oh, you want to get into things?
Well, I mean...
No. Let's get into things. Let's get real. Everybody, BoJack wants to get real. Cancel the bubble round, because we're getting real.